What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical, average American here today to react to a new report that's come out, authored by U.S. Trade Representative Jameson Greer, and it basically says that the United States, we are very, very mad at Canada for disagreeing and protesting against what the U.S. has been doing to you guys. And so, I don't know all the details of this yet, but it just really seems to be what the American government's attitude towards Canada has been lately. Basically, we've been saying, well, we can do whatever we want, and you guys better not have any opinion on it or say anything bad about it. And it's really a bit dystopian sounding, really. So anyway, today I want to learn more about this and learn about what the American government is now saying about Canada. So let's take a look.
This report that was presented or will be presented to Congress and Donald Trump by the U.S. Trade Representative Jameson Greer highlights the fact that for about a year now, just over since March 2025, many liquor control boards like the LCBO in Ontario have stopped purchasing and selling American products. And so this trade report says that it's really hampering the ability of U.S. manufacturers, businesses to get their products to Canada.
That's the point. What? What? These are the people. These are the people who are running my government. They're what? What do you mean? That's the point. That's what a protest is. That's what a boycott is. It's supposed to hurt so that you can send a message. What do you like? There shouldn't be any confusion about this. Yeah, it's not good to see American companies suffering, especially for the stupid policies of our government. But at the same time, it's I've heard about this kind of stuff where in Canada specifically, I know that you've banned a lot of American alcohols, right, and that kind of stuff. But it's kind of strange because here in the United States, we take a lot of pride in free speech and protesting, and that's a very American ideal. And it's but when anyone actually does it to us, we're very mad. We're what are you doing? It's what? You don't have to be a genius to see that Canada is trying to send a message that you are upset with what we are doing to you. I don't know. And then to write up this official report, you're tattling to the teacher, Canada's being very mean to us. And it's what have we been doing to Canada for the last 15 months or whatever now? What? Huh? Make it make sense.
So they're saying that they want this removed immediately. You look at the LCBO, for example. The stats show that normally the LCBO purchases about $1 billion worth of American wine, liquor, and spirits every year. But since March 2025, you have not been able to buy American liquor in any sort from the LCBO. And that.
What are we threatening Canada? We're just writing up reports to waste time in our the legislative assemblies or whatever they do. That's what we're doing, so that we can just all get in a circle in Congress and be Canada sucks and they're banning our beer. And it's instead of asking why that is, or trying to come to any sort of trade agreement, or meet in the middle, or really ask ourselves, why is Canada doing this? It's wow. It's also kind of funny at the same time, because it's I feel like a lot of American politicians, and certainly Donald Trump, would be like, forget Canada. We don't need Canada. We don't need them. They rely on us. They need it's like, okay, if we don't need Canada, why are we getting so mad when Canada tries to push away from us and you guys boycott some of our goods? We get so mad. Why are we getting so mad if you don't matter? It's because the truth is you do matter. And it's like, oh, yeah, it's pretty crazy.
That also goes to a lot of restaurants. Restaurants aren't able to buy any type of American product online. There are other ways to get it, of course, but this report today is highlighting that this is really impacting American businesses, and they're saying that it's an unfair trade practice, and they want this policy removed completely.
This is so, I can't even imagine what hearing this from the Canadian perspective must feel like, because it's triggering enough for me as an American, and we're the ones doing this, and it triggers me. It's an unfair trade practice. Canada, come on. Why are you doing all these unfair trade practices? What's your problem? Jeez, can't you be more like us? We're extremely fair, very fair here. We have never threatened anyone or tariffs or trade wars. It's all in your mind. It's all, no, that never happened. What? This is like so hypocritical. Maybe that's why being hypocritical, that really, that'll get you worked up. Like, it's gaslighting. It's like that's a good word for it. Gaslighting. Like we're trying to make Canada feel like you guys did all that. Like you started this. You guys did this. It's like, what? We did this. What's going on here?
Now, it is important to note it highlights that there are just two provinces, Alberta and Saskatchewan, which don't have this ban on American products. And so, again, they're saying that this is unacceptable. It's a trade irritant. And this report is saying that they want this removed immediately, and they want all American booze back on the shelves.
It's just, I can't help but like laugh when it's like the stupid U.S. report is like, this is a trade irritant. Yeah, no, duh. It's supposed to be. What are you, huh? I'm just like getting kind of genuinely worried, like, because obviously if you bring this report to like Donald Trump's desk or whatever, if he's like taking a break from bombing Iran, he'll look at it and be like, maybe actually threaten Canada. Like, who knows, right?
ASAP, Marcia.
What other so-called trade irritants are highlighted in this report to Congress and, we should note, to the U.S. president?
Well, there are a few that are to be expected. So, for example, they highlight supply management, that's something that's really hampering the ability to get American dairy, for example, into Canada. This has been something that is a long-standing problem. They also talk about, label.
Yeah, there's like some kind of the dairy. I don't know why that's funny to me. It's not funny, and I'm sure like people are losing their livelihood and their jobs and money over this, but it's like so. It's kind of insane how much of this like trade dispute is because we're mad at like dairy. Like we want Canada to buy more of our dairy. Like you guys have a limit on how much American dairy products you'll buy or import so that you make sure that in Canada it emphasizes purchasing Canadian dairy, which is totally something that the United States would do, by the way. And just the amount of times I've heard that we're upset about the dairy like, do we not have like good enough cheese? Like, is our cottage cheese not good enough here? What?
Requirements. That also makes it a little bit more cumbersome to get American products into Canada. In many cases, these labels must require French and English. But really the big one here, Marcia, is they highlight this Buy Canadian policy that, as you pointed out in your intro, was introduced and implemented in December 2025. And what that did, as you highlighted, was the government said, look, there are policies in the United States, including tariffs, that are making it very hard on specific industries, steel and aluminum and wood. And so what the federal government said was Canada needs to be the best buyer of Canada. And so what the federal government did is for any contracts $25 million or over in the defense sector or for federal government procurement, the federal government departments, the Defense Department, Crown corporations had to prioritize the use of Canadian wood, steel, and aluminum.
Oh, wow. So this is this buy Canadian policy. So, okay, we're very mad at the buy Canadian policy. Well, that's just a perfect example again of something that, like, here in the United States, like, we have slogans like make America great again, like America first. We are unashamed, unabashedly, like, that's one of the purposes of tariffs, right? To like emphasize or incentivize purchasing domestic made goods and lowering imports. We're all about buy American, but we're pissed off when there's buy Canadian. It's just so hypocritical. It's just so how can we be mad? We can't be mad at this is the answer. It makes no sense. We'd have to look in the mirror and also pass that judgment onto ourselves, which is probably one of the things we are literally the worst at. Self-reflection. That's a whole other story. Interesting. I didn't know the details around the buy Canadian. Something about like after $25 million, you have to start buying that product like domestically in Canada or so. Anyway, it's a policy that emphasizes like Canada buying stuff in Canada from it, like bolstering its own economy, which I don't think that's like edgy. I don't think that's like some kind of crazy, unreasonable policy, especially when the United States has made it abundantly clear that, I mean, at times it sounds like we want nothing to do with Canada, but then at other times we're very mad Canada is like moving away from us and buying Canadian or making trade deals with Australia or so there's really no consistency to anything that we're saying or doing. It's really frustrating.
Now, the Americans say that this is an unfair practice, that this buy Canadian policy has some concerns, that American businesses are raising concerns that they're having a harder time fighting for contracts in Canada. And they say that this puts American businesses at an unfair disadvantage.
That's the point. It's just like so, I don't know. Like, I guess it's not my business that's on the line here, so maybe I'm like a little detached from it, but can't. I feel like you can just objectively step away and be like, yes, buy Canadian is meant to be an advantage for Canadian businesses and disadvantage American businesses. That's the point. Not selling our alcohol is meant to be a trade irritant. That's the point. It's like this stupid report or whatever that we're putting into Congress and to Trump's desk. It's like we think we're like discovering these like groundbreaking, like Canada is boycotting American alcohol. That could be bad for us. Why are they doing that? Canada is doing buy Canadian. That's going to help their businesses and not ours. We need to study why are they doing that? What do you why it's all pretty clear to me what's going on. Like, what?
To the Canadians. But what's interesting here is that the Americans do have a very similar policy. It all started under Joe Biden, where he put in place this Buy America. And the United States president now, Donald Trump, has really hammered home on this Buy America policy. And
exactly. Exactly.
That's what, these tariffs are doing. They're really trying to convince people to buy American products and prioritize American products instead of doing Canadian products. So,
yeah. So, I'm glad that they said that because that's what I was thinking.
This is a big one that's highlighted in this report. They're saying that these buy Canadian policies are unfair, and they also want to see these removed, Marcia.
Do we ever stop and think for a moment that in Canada, like you guys are probably saying a lot of the stuff that the US does is unfair? No, we just sit here and say, we do all these horrible things and all these stupid trade decisions that are literally meant to hurt Canada. That's the point of our policies. and then we throw our hands up and go, why is Canada being so mean? It's it's baffling. It's really concerning. Like, is the American government, like, I know it's pretty incompetent in a lot of aspects. Like, are we really this dumb? Like, really? This is like somehow worse than I thought.
Interesting, as some Canadians may observe, pretty rich. Annie, as we look ahead to the
That's funny. This is like major Canadian news, right? Like this CTV, like this news station. That's funny that they're like willing to say that on air. Like, huh, that's rich coming from the US. That's exactly what everyone's thinking.
CUSMA talks coming up later in the spring. Could these trade irritants have an impact on the way things go?
Yes.
It is likely that these are all part of the conversation. What's really interesting is
Yes, because during the CUSMA renegotiation, we're going to make all these demands that you stop all of this.
that they have to have some type of agreement in place or meetings by July 1st. By July 1st, the two parties have to decide whether they want to move ahead with the current CUSMA agreement, whether they want to get out of it, or whether they want some sort of in-between here, which would keep negotiations going. We know that talks are currently underway, but no formal talks have officially started, which they have with Mexico. So we know that the two sides are talking quite frequently. LeBlanc was just out on Monday updating Canadians and sort of where they're at. But what this is doing is sort of highlighting some of the problems that the Americans have had with Canada throughout 2025. And, you know, they're highlighting.
This is so insane. Like, even as an American, like, I want what's best for the United States. I also don't want to hurt any other country, especially Canada, one of our greatest allies. It's a travesty. And it's just like, even as an American, I can just plainly see how backwards this all is.
A number of these. We talked about the beer, wine, and spirits bans. We talked about the Buy Canada policies. You know, there's also some concerns here about the Online News Act and the Online Streaming Act. And there's also concerns with aviation. We know that Donald Trump wants this Gulfstream approved ASAP. The Canadian Transportation Agency is working with the FAA to get this done. But Trump has said, look, we're going to potentially threaten tariffs on Canadian-made airplanes if this does not get approved. And this is also one of the things highlighted in this trade report today, is that they say that Canadian approval of airlines and airplanes is just taking far too long. So there are all of these so-called irritants highlighted. And
such a middle manager type thing to say, too. Like, that's the rewriting the aerospace regulations is taking too long. It's taking too long. Like, shut up. It's something like some annoying manager would say.
What it's doing is really just kind of highlighting what the Americans view as concerns with Canada's trade policy with the United States. And do we know for a fact that all of these topics are being brought up in these discussions with Canada? No. But the fact that they're saying them publicly means that, you know, to some degree, most of these issues are probably coming up in these background discussions, these private discussions between the Canadians and the Americans, Marcia.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty safe assessment, Annie. Annie, thank you for all of that. Really.
Wow. There you have it. That's the summary of this report by Jamieson Greer. That's the U.S. Trade Representative to Canada. He's presenting it to the U.S. government and Trump, and it's just a bunch of complaining. It's just a bunch of hypocrisy. This was so depressing to listen to. It's so annoying, so hypocritical. Like, we're actually complaining about how Canada is responding to our attacks and threats and tariffs and yeah. This is crazy. Yeah, I didn't know how bad it had gotten. It certainly doesn't look good. Because, yeah, if you've been watching, like, any of the videos on my channel recently, like, I've been naively hoping for some kind of new trade deal or something between Canada and the U.S. relations to get better, and it just seems to be getting worse. And and I don't even, from a Canadian point of view, I don't even know how you, like, can negotiate with us Americans, like when we literally these are our arguments. It's incredibly frustrating. So, but it's good to be aware of what's going on. That's crazy. So anyway, if you enjoyed this, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment, especially if you're Canadian, hearing your perspective on all this stuff and what America's saying, and that'd be cool to hear about. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to Canadian things that I've never seen before, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.